Dear my friends, today is maybe the 5th day, but maybe the 4th Dhamma talk, because yesterday we skipped one talk. Today also to start the Dhamma talk, may everyone will give the consent with 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Chattaro me bhikkhave ahara bhutanam va sattanam va titya sambhavesinam va anugayati. Dear Dhamma friends, we have taken the particular discourse from the Buddha as the basic common topic for the series of Dhamma talk, known as Phagguna Sutta. You find in the Samyutta Nikaya, Nidhanavaka Samyutta, and it is basically to discuss the 4 kinds of nutriments according to the omniscient knowledge of the Buddha. The very first one is the edible food, the material, that is easy to show, easy to grasp, easy to verify, simply by the eating of the food. But even in this materialistic part, the Buddha not only limiting the edible, but even the visual objects to the eye, the sounds to the ear, the smell to the nose, the edible thing to the tongue, and the other tangibles to the body, tactile sensations, all are considered as kabalinkara ahara, and that is called materialistic. The material food, material nutriments. The second one is the dutyo passo, that contact, and just like these 5 senses, always bombarded with this sensuous impingements or sensory impingements, the mind always breed upon the contact. Ever it is in contact with external, internal faculties. So, as far as we are living, we are having the contacts, the touching, for example, the sensitivity of the eye is always ready to get a touch with the visual objects, or we call impingement, come with, whenever the visual object come with avenue within the range, the eye sensitivity is almost prepared to get the touch. Therefore, the touch itself, the contact itself, is a kind of a nutriment for not only for the beings that have come to birth, but even for the assistant for that being that is seeking to become. For example, the embryos in the egg and the embryos in the womb, always they need kind of a shock, kind of a contact, otherwise they won't grow. So when you go to an incubator, you see in the incubator the egg has to be turned mechanically or physically once in 2 days, otherwise it won't grow. And when you observe the hen, when it is brooding upon the eggs, always it is turning around, not only giving the heat, it's a turning around, that kind of a contact even for the embryos to grow. So that kind of a touch is necessary, not only for the living beings, but those who are preparing also, it is necessary. The third one is the one we took last time, the volition, that the will to do something. Always we have this kind of urge to do something. So this is also, you will never notice unless otherwise you try to do nothing. That is the day you will understand how much is the urge we have. Once it's a somewhat relevant event happened during the time of the Buddha. A disciple from another sect came and explained the Buddha that his master is very good, having this and that of qualities, and therefore he is very happy to be a disciple of that particular master. And at the beginning Buddha told, if you are happy with your master, it is good. And asked his abilities. And he gave this kind of, that kind of, all the abilities. Then Buddha asked, how long he can sit and wait without doing nothing? 1 hour? No. 2 hours? No. At the beginning Buddha asked, can he sit and wait for 7 days? No. 6 days? No. 5 days? 4 days? 3 days? 2 days? 1 day? Half a day? And 3 hours? 2 hours? 1 hour? No. So that is the point Buddha told, not only by the abilities of a person, you must measure him by the ability to not to do something. Then the Buddha told, if I wish, I can sit and wait for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, half a day, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, up to the 7 days. So this is what I claim as my capacity, my ability. So this will not be tallying or welcoming idea for today's dynamism, the dynamic world, where people are going for acrobats and breakdance and all the kind of thing. And they have the ability, they are showing their capacity. But any person having this capacity, if you can challenge to him, how long can you sit and wait? They will never thought about. So that is the point. As a yogi, we are trying the both. We try to be very dynamic and up to the present moment, and very vigilant, very diligent, and very mindful, and giving no any rest to the mind. Keep it all the time, be on the board. And it's exactly in the same coin, you can see it is a kind of not doing any physical misdeeds, verbal misdeeds, and the mental. Or in the sense we can say, we are calming down kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara, mano sankhara, or chitta sankhara. So yesterday, day before, in the last talk, we told how the Buddha inviting us to calm down, specifically, categorically, from the Sila Sikha, Samadhi Sikha, Panya Sikha, that is the restrainment of virtues, morality, we make a vow, make a determination, I will not commit any physical misdeeds and the verbal misdeeds. Then we call we are cultured. Then we call we are uplifted. Then we call we are committing moral restraint. So we have moral responsibilities, and that is how we measure the civilization, the culture, the gentleness. And then only that is regarding the physical and verbal. Such a person, even maybe after the suggestion of the Buddha, he says even if you can maintain the physical and verbal restrainment, if it is to be durable, if it is to be predictable, there should have a backing from the mental culture. Otherwise, your physical and verbal thing will not be lasting. At any time, vulnerable and at danger. So therefore you must have a certain amount of mental culture. That is what we call the concentration training, and we restrain the tendencies, rather defilements in the obsessional level. Obsession level means that it has not been transgressed yet, not thread passed, but you feel now within your mind, within your stream of consciousness, the desire has arisen, the hatred has arisen, the sleepiness, sloth and torpor has arisen, and the bewilderment, the doubting mind, split mind arising, and scattering of the mind arising, but still due to your restrainment, you not exposed to the society, even the other person can't see is, but you can see. That is what we call Nissarana, or what is what we call obsessional kind of defilements. That is not yet gone to the ethical level, not another psychology disturbed, but you know that you are being disturbed or being challenged by one of these five. So that we have to take it under control, or rather anesthetize by concentration training. But we have to understand, by concentration training, we are just anesthetizing it. Make them docile, but not getting rid of, no eradication. Because even if you remove this obsessional kind of defilements, there is yet another latent types and underlying tendencies that even you can't see. Even if you see, you can't recognize in their correct perspective, unless otherwise you are successful in moral training and the concentration training. So once the concentration training happened, that means mind is fairly free from defilements, rather obsessional kind, or mind is endowed with five mental factors, jhanic factors, then only it is armed with, it is prepared to see the underlying tendencies, the dormant type. And that is the intrinsic, the crux of the teaching of the Buddha. Because before the Buddha, the moral training and the concentration training were recognized and they were practicing, and there were some role models too. But they taught the underlying tendencies or the dormant type is beyond human capacity. It is the place where the omniscient God, the omnipotent, everlasting God came. And they told it is heavenly, it is after the death, not human. But even before the enlightenment, the Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha to be, he took this as a challenge. And then only he thought, why not explore into this? And that is the place where the insight meditation came into being. And that is what the contribution of the Buddha to the human kind. And in the insight meditation, we take this three kind of training in the micro level, that is to say, Kaya Sankhara, Vachi Sankhara, Mano Sankhara, or Chitta Sankhara. They are the Sankhara, means the bare minimum of physicality, the bare minimum of articulation or verbalization, the bare minimum, the rock bottom of the mental activities. So, Kaya Sankhara, that means the breath. The breath is the minimum representative of the living body. Without that, it won't sustain. Upon that only all the other physical activities happen. So Anapanasati is, as we discussed last time, is giving the way for us to understand all the 11 possible facets of the in-breath and out-breath, namely the past form, the present form, and the future form. That means along the time dimension. And the gross form and the subtle form, the near form and the far away form, internal form and the external form, and the desirable form and the undesirable form. So Buddha asks us to develop or to see the breath in this all the possible 11 dimensions. When that happens, for the first time you be aware of the breath in a choiceless manner. When it's gross or subtle, you give the equal attention. Whether you feel internally or externally, you give the equal attention. Whether it appear desirable or undesirable, you try to still continue. Sometimes the breath appear very far away, appear like a hallucination. Sometimes it is going inside to the brain, but even then you just continue. So when you are practicing, you are being asked to be mindful before the onset of the in-breath, so that you are vigilantly waiting and see before it sets in. So that is the future form. You are so diligent, so vigilant, you are trying to see the beginning of the in-breath. Before the breath happens, your vigilance is ready. And then you go through the middle. Middle is the what usually we feel at the present form. And when it ceases to exist, you are maintaining your vigilance, the diligence, to the last drop. And even then still wait and see the tail end of it. That is the past form. So likewise the breath also we can see the present, future and the past. So then only the breath become no more agitation, a violation, then it calms down. This is some of the great discoveries of the Buddha. When you leave the breath to play all the possible manners, without a hindrance, without a distraction, without a manipulation, without a choice, it naturally calms down. So when it is calming down, you call Pasamaya Kaya Sankara, you calming down the breath body, you train yourself, observe the in-breath and out-breath. So when that happens, you become qualified to look into the subtle part of the stream of consciousness. And that means you are under the carpet, you are ready now to see the mentality, the non-materialistic part. When that happens, as we discussed last time, basically the feelings and perceptions start to play hell. When they are manifesting, you don't know whether it's a physical pain or mental pain. And when the perception going to happen, you don't know it's a reality or a concept. All become very activated and amplified and start the stage play. And when that happens, still as far as the sankhara is concerned, your prime task is to not to do something. You try your best not to get involved, not to react. And that is how you can still apply the same principle, just like in the breath body. Let the feelings and the perceptions to come and play hell, but you try to maintain your status as the neutral observer, and then what is happening? So then the Buddha is assuring, definitely it is to calm down. That is called Pasambhaya, Chitta Sankara. When that is happening, if you are going to measure, if you are going to select, if you are going to fork your fingers, ever it is agitated. But the problem is, even if you are well instructed, how can we withdraw ourselves? Or leave it aside ourselves, how can I withdraw myself? This is the biggest art. This is the biggest meditation. And that is a kind of an art. You have to let go. You have to let it happen. And when it is agitation, aggravated, you understand it is aggravated. And then still you are not carried away, you are not worried, you are just observed. And when it is calming down, you understand it as calming down. Sometimes it is lingering, no change, no progress. And then you feel like, what is happening? Because is it my mistake or what is happening? This is something to be worried about and entertaining doubts. So this is the part most tricky, most involved, most electric. So advanced yogi, with so much of interviews and the discussions and contemplations, will one day understand. So let the pain and the perception, the feelings and the perceptions to manifest by themselves at the absence of the physical manifestations. And how can I just be a neutral observer, distance observer and observe it? When that happens, the pasamaya chitta sankara, this automatically, slowly it happens. It is painfully slow. This process is painfully slow. It is not irrespective of any person, or any person that is the case. So, more than in the calming down of your breath body or physical part, when you come to this, the calming down of your mental part, basically the feelings and the perception, or the art of not getting involved, there you will come out face. You are undergoing such a situation. You have to understand how much I do things intentionally and how much things happening to me without my involvement, without my intention. So this is the one point that I wanted to go a little in detail. That is why I today took the Sankhara itself as the topic for the day. And this one, volitionally or intentionally involved things and uninvolved things is a very vast subject, applicable to each and every thought body. So therefore, one has to, at the beginning, you don't know, you are not exposed to that, you are not worried about, but when you keep on practicing, one day you have to come to this brim, the margin, the threshold, to understand how much it is happening to me and how much it is the intentional thing I am going to do. It is happening or doing. So in the Abhidhamma studies, this has been given as asankarika sasankarika. Asankarika means auto-happening or effortlessly happening without provocation from external or internal. It's called happening. Sasankarika means you have your motivation or will or intention or due to someone external. So when these two are not recognized, the puthajjana, the commoner, is take all the things happening as doings. Whatever happens is a suffering, whatever happening is a mistake, whatever happening is a defilement. So ultimately he or she keep on brooding, keep on self-accusing. Whatever the restraint I am going to happen, so much of things are, I am doing mistakenly, why it is happening, and everlasting discouragement and the self-accusation happens. But if your mindfulness or the diligence, the vigilance is sharp to go to the beginning point and to see how much it is doing and how much it is happening, that very observation itself will give you a huge relief. You will understand most of the things are happenings or cause and effect relationships in technical meaning than a person, a being and pith or essence is conducting it. So, if you are to see, it is rather a cause and effect relationship. You are not, you are not committed. You are not answerable to the consequences. You have the neutral observer status. Then you are observing Dhamma. You are observing the principles. You are observing the sap of the Dhamma, the juice of the Dhamma. Instead, if you are going to say, this I did it, and therefore consequences are, I have to bear it up, and therefore net result, once you boil down everything is end up with discouragement, or self-accusation, disappointment, frustration, or guilt. So that is very related subject to the Atta and Anatta, the self and non-self character. So it is easily, when you are practicing, advancing in meditation, can apply to each and every moment how this sankhara means that volitional things are happening. Let me explain that. When we are walking meditation, and we in the pace, in the middle, maintain the left leg, the right leg, the left leg, the right leg, or we understand, we feel, we experience the touch sensation from the heel to the middle to the toes of the left leg, and then again the heel from the middle to the toes of the right leg can happen. So we can be predictably say, for 15 few steps, I can walk. I know I can maintain the mindfulness. And I can not be wandering off, I can maintain. Just like you are in a situation, you are learning a push bike, and now you know you can maintain the balance, you know the proper speed, and you know you are not going to knock down, you know to fall down. So somewhat kind of a balance happen in the walking meditation. Being so, when you go to the turn, when you are turning, you become vulnerable. And there you have a determination, I must maintain this mindfulness, I must maintain this vigilance. But when they are happening, a scene happens, for example, a bird flies, or the squirrel jumps. And all of a sudden, you come to know now no more you are with the tactile sensation and the soul, but instead you see, you become a seer from the touching states. So when that happens, if you can't understand whether it is you look or you see, I'm repeating, whether you look at it or just see, definitely you will regret telling my mindfulness broken and I am not diligent and I made a determination not to look at, but I was taken away. But if you analyze and see whether you look at it or it see, internally you look at it. And then my challenge is for someone to understand the difference between the looking and seeing, listening and hearing. And all the senses you can put into that. So this is a very big issue in the grammar. The active voice and the passive voice. And if you are not mindful, not the general mindfulness, you have to very sharply, very, it is called steadfast mindfulness. Steadfast in mindfulness, then only you can challenge and see, yes, I was walking and at the end, something happened. It is not that I looked at it, but I see it. If that is the case, without much worry, you can come back and again start with the right leg and the left leg. From there you can see before also it is your attention with the right leg and the left leg, and you seeing happens, and after that you again back on the right and left, and the main thing is no worries. Nothing to worry because it is happening. But instead if you have looked at it intentionally, then that you are being suffered. You are worth accusing yourself because it is not the way that yogi has to behave. So this kind of looking and seeing exactly can apply when the breath is calmed down. The physical pains arises and different sensations or rather perceptions going to happen. Your theory knowledge come and start to manifest. And bright ideas come, creativity happens, and telling to others, and all the kind of thing happens. So each and everyone is becoming a distraction, but maybe you are innocent. It is not what you meant, it is not what you intentionally do, it is not your volitional, it is not your motivated thing. So if someone can understand these things are happenings rather than doings, itself is a huge relief. Because you are not committing yourself. So the Buddha very clearly, very boldly he says, Chetanaham bhikkhave kammam vadami. Whenever it has become a volition, I would say it has consequences. If you have your volition, you have to cater for your consequences. If something happened without a volition, don't worry. Main thing is not to worry. But main thing is not to worry, become effective if you can answer whether it is a happening or a doing. So in this world, theoretically we can say 1,001 uncountable, innumerable amount of materialistic particles are there. Whatever come contact with our senses only going to give suffering. Not the other one. Whatever not come with the come with avenue with, contact with, unconcerned, they are not sankhara. They have not become sankhara. They are irrelevant. They never cause any suffering, and on contemplating upon that, never you go to Nibbana. They are just conceptual. But whatever come into contact are the cause of suffering, and they are the one you have to contemplate. They are the Nibbana is life. They are the middle path is life. So by considering that, how much of relief you can get, whatever the amount of material available, whatever come into contact with you, whatever you desire to hate, is the only thing going to create troubles. Pepanto jayati soko, tanhaya jayati soko. Due to your likings or disliking and disliking, you have a choice of all the amount of materiality. You have, this is my liking and this is my disliking, that is the source of suffering. Which is not come to the line with the liking and disliking, we'll say no pain, no pleasure kind of thing. Even if they come into contact with, they also not make any suffering. So when you are observing, when you are understanding, when you are contemplating, you have to see as far as the materials are concerned, whatever contact which is biased either to the liking and disliking, definitely going to give a repercussion, friction, turmoil, vortex, karmic forces. Within that, whatever may be happening in the neither liking nor disliking, basic symptoms is boredom, monotonous, disinterest. So that is the path that's the middle path. So best sign of the middle path is the monotony, the boredom, the lack of interest, no titillation, not dramatic. So when the breath becomes calm down, you can easily understand these things are sexy. That means out of the materiality also, you are concerned only thing manifested in front of you, and out of that also, you calm down, and when the calming down happens, you can see the likings and disliking are disappearing, but the no like, no dislike happens, and the progress is being hindered due to the monotony. It's a border. due to the lack of event, dramatic nature. So you must be aware of it and promote it, try to maintain as much as possible, even without hating the boredom, even without hating the monotony. So that is the way we become, not to create sankhara, not to create volition, not to create any kind of motivational thing and let things happen. So mastering that, when you go further, when a feeling happens, pleasurable and painful, and at that time we are not worrying about perception or any other volitional activities. That means the pain is the main aspect for you, and there also you must understand pain has three facets: the pleasurable, the painful, and the medium. Pain and pleasure happen. You are come out with so much of excuses and the complaints and all the kind of thing. But when there is no pain, no pleasure, you complain boredom. For example, when someone will say that most of the time we have the pain and irritating kind of feelings, so therefore we are always asking for comfort and the luxuries and kind of thing. So therefore body makes so much of unpleasant sensation. So once you become paralyzed, you will be half enlightened. Because partly you are not getting any sensation. What happens is you start crying. Because no feelings. So if the feelings are generally that's a fact. Most of the feelings are unpleasant. Very rarely only we get a pleasure amidst of unpleasant feeling. And we love so much of our unpleasant feeling. It's a brutal kind of love. That's the way we maintain this thing. So you can understand whenever the part and parcel go, we can't be happy there because we suffer a lack of feeling also. And therefore, whenever the feeling happens in the meditation, you have to understand, you have to recognize why its outlook, whether it's a pleasurable or painful, or no pain, no pleasure. And if possible, not to make a volitional choice, or not to make it a sankhara, or not to make it a point for karmic forces. You have to treat the pain, pleasure and the neutral feeling equal. That is the highest training, as far as the feelings are concerned. That means, if you can equally observe the painful feeling as well as the pleasurable feeling, that's only you know at the beginning. Ultimately you will come to the middle where you know you are not dead, you know you are not sleepy, you are not unconscious, but there is no kind of a pain or pleasure. So there you can easily understand that is the point where no pain, no pleasure happens. But the thing is, it is not entertaining, because it appears like boring, it appears like monotonous, it is appears like less dramatic. So therefore, our rational mind or our egoistic idea is evading it or do away with it by creating this boredom. So if you can overcome that, be with it. And if you are to understand no pain, no pleasure, under your very nose, you will understand most of the time in the day, you are in no pain, no pleasure, but you don't know. That's why you start reading novels. That's why you feel like reading newspapers. You feel like gossiping with another person. Or look at the television. Because in order to get rid of this boredom, you entertain yourself. But if you go back and see why I need this kind of hobbies or the recreation, because we hate this no pain, no pleasure situation. Because it is surrounded by this border and the monotonous nature. So therefore in the meditation, not only by practicing, you must have kind of correct perspectives. How the Buddha put this in the correct perspective, and if you do not have that backing, whatever the meditation happens, you will get up and go and say, I am supposed to look at the breath, but breath disappeared, then what to do? I got up and went there. I went for and talk with someone and look at something and kind of thing. So for such a person, it's a mistake. The breath is the one to be observed, and it is not there, then lost, listless. But for the real meditator, it's a blessing, it's advancement, exactly the same thing. That is because of the proper understanding, proper interviews, proper discussions, and therefore this is the way we are weaning off, we are dwindling off the sankhara, the manifestations. So there, when the feeling happen, or perception happen, or volitional something happen, if you can clearly understand whether it is intentional thing or it is happening, just like understand the painful feeling and the pleasurable feeling with respect to the no pain, no pleasure, each and every event you can discreetly understand whether it is happening or whether it is something doing. And they are all what you did, you are answerable. But the life is not that. Life is something happening. But if you know how to appreciate it, that is the point you will be nullifying as much as possible sankhara, as much as possible volitions, as much as possible intentions. And chetana, in Pali it is called chetana. So therefore tackling chetana is very, very difficult because we almost claim everything as me, mine and myself. But instead the Buddha says, when in the meditation a sound happens, and due to the sound you have irritation and the hatred comes. Now sometimes a very good music happens, you have a desire, how nice it is, and if I can listen longer. So when this happens, if you do not trace it back and see, whether it is something you did or happens, so ultimately you will be rather distracted and end up with disappointment. So therefore, even the desire happens, even the hatred happens, if you just see them as Dhamma, if you just see them as cause and effect relationship, even your mind is with desire. There's nice music happens, you have the desire, but you look at it as an outsider. This is cause and effect relationship. I never came here for this. I never have any intention. It is happening. Main thing is not to worry. So, in order to promote that idea, as far as dwindling off of the sankhara ahara, the Buddha says, in the meditation, this kind of underlying tendency, or maybe some kind of a direct desire happens, you must learn the art of disclaimer. This is not me, this is not mine, this is not my soul. Yet another way the Buddha presents the same thing, he invites us to practice the mindfulness, or we can say mindfulness as the factor of enlightenment, sati sambojjhanga. Viveka nisitam, viraga nisitam, nirodha nisitam, but nissarana passi. You try to be mindful, and with the mindfulness, to the vigilance you see, you have a bad tendency, you have a bad desire, or very good one, or white of thing, state of mind you come to know. That is not what you expected. But you can still be relaxed. You see them as Dhamma. you sometimes see that your faith disappears. And sometimes energy lost, you are slack and you can't maintain it. But even then, if you can look at it in a relaxed way, or getting a distance and observe it, it's a kind of a reinforcement of the same mindfulness. So therefore, Viveka Nissita, Viraga Nissita, you have no even the desire or craving for steadfast mindfulness also. That is also, you know, at the time, mindfulness comes, at the time it goes. It is impermanent. So when the mindfulness is not there, there is nothing to worry. It is happening due to the cause and effect. And if it is so, when the causes and effects are not there, it is to disappear. By observing the ups and downs of even the good qualities of such as faith, the energy, the mindfulness, the wisdom, the concentration, still if you can develop kind of a Viveka Nissita, that is get a distance and in a relaxed way, Viraga Nissita without much of attraction with him, Nirodha Nissita, just see the cessation part. You see the disappearing of the mindfulness, the cessation or the disappearing of the faith, the disappearing of your energy, the disappearing of your concentration, the disappearing part of your wisdom. It's also something to be observed without much reaction. So this is the part in the Vipassana, only exclusively we can discuss, and where we can understand as far as the faith, the energy, mindfulness, the concentration, the wisdom is concerned, we are always happy when it is setting in, when it is starting, when it is developing. But we never happy when there ceases to exist. That means we don't understand these things as cause and effect. They think also have the beginning, the middle and the end. That means the characteristic feature of Sankhara. Sankhara means, sometimes you define, anything has the beginning, the middle and the end, they are Sankhara. So all the 5 qualities, the faith, the energy, the mindfulness, all these are Sankhara. So consider them as Sankhara, but in a relaxed way. And yet another very beautiful word the Buddha has mentioned in the Sappurusha Sutta and some other places. He says, Dhammayata and Atammayata. Dhammayata means rising out of that. For example, the mindfulness is very clear. Now you are sure, now my mindfulness is predictable. You can make sure that for 10-15 minutes, whatever the distraction, I can be mindful. And then there's a kind of a desire, kind of a one-upmanship, kind of egoistic idea arises. Because my mindfulness is good. So that very desire, that very conceit, that very egoistic idea called the desire arisen out of mindfulness. Or to the mindfulness. Or you consider that my meditation is better than yesterday, you start comparing. That comparison, it's a defilement coming out of mindfulness. And you see, I am lucky person, I got this chance because I came to the steadfast mindfulness. And that is some kind of egoistic fulfillment going to happen. So that is called Dhammayata. Make a point, due to the concentration, you develop the desire, the conceit and the egoistic idea. But if you can disclaim that, Atammeta, that can be very dramatically explained when there is a disappearance of the mindfulness, a disheartening. Mindfulness is scattered out. And there naturally you get disheartened. You hate that situation, that he is the person who came and destroyed me, or the sound is the one destroyed me. You attributions also you find. And you lost, listless. Your ego is going to go bankruptcy. And there also you develop Dhammeta, a reason to be unhappy. And there also the Buddha says develop Atammeta, whether it is development of the mindfulness or disappearance of the mindfulness. if we can say, that's also we can say we are really understanding how these things become sankhara, or how can we train ourselves to get rid of the sankhara, or weaned off sankhara, or thinning out the sankhara, or eradicating of the sankhara. So we are going to directly confront with our mental states without prejudgmental decisions, premeditated concepts. Let them happen and disappear. And when that happens, you are really understand, if you do not have this kind of a direct experience on the arising and passing away, not on the defilement, even the good qualities. And if we have not this kind of interpretation, each and every moment, we are clinging into one or the other, knowingly or unknowingly. So therefore, even unconsciously, we have some motivations. These, the unconscious motivations, whether you support it or not, it has its own momentum. So you have to go prepared. First, remove the intentional motivations. That you have to observe precepts, to keep the body in one place without much intentional activities, and then let the other unintentional things, the tendencies or underlying currents to let come or prop up. When that is propping up, you must be happy. Then only you can see what is happening under the carpet. And it is the way that you have been brought up. That is your culture. That is your values and likings and disliking personality. So when that happens, of course it is indicating what was the past. But if you can learn the art of disclaimer, or Viveka Nishita, Viraga Nishita, or you can note it, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. That is the point we can wean them off, even if it is unintentional. So that part never you can think in the Western psychology. Western psychology, they can little think about intentional motivation, how that frustration happens, how the counseling can do and get rid of the frustration. But when you go home, again you get the same frustration because unintentional trends are there. So therefore, for the Western psychology, they can never think about the healthy mind. That is not their intercombination. The psychiatric analysis only with the imbalanced people. So therefore, if they ask at the end of your psychiatric healing, what is the ideal, what is the realistic, what is the intrinsic form, they have they can't configure it. Therefore, hysteric agony, he can make a day-to-day unhappiness. That is maximum the Sigmund Freud the promised. And they sometimes go talking about this, the counseling and psychiatric analysis kind of thing. And later the people question, what is the natural end of the free association or counseling? No, naturally. Ever lingering. Or the patient has to be another counselor. Then only the situation ends up. No end. Because they are, according to their thinking pattern, what does it mean by the healthy mind is never defined. But in the Buddha's way, he says, first, as a precept, or as a vow, or as a determination, try your best to reduce the intentional motivations, that is, the physical misdeeds, verbal misdeeds, and then come to the mental misdeeds, and intentionally you maintain as much as possible, but don't think that's the end of the game. Once that is finished, the unintentionally but intrinsic to your past, your upbringing, your liking and disliking are now going to ooze out, proliferate. Also, you have to observe that area on a diagnostic approach. But whenever they manifest, you must have the art of disclaimer. This is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. And if you are going to claim this is due to my mistake, this is due to my past karma, this is due to the neighbor's mistake, or climate is wrong, or the government is wrong, or that and this, each and every misunderstanding, you are confirming the ego, or soul, or an essence, or pith. Instead, Buddha gave an alternative disclaimer. This is the cause and effect relationship, whether it is intentionally or unintentionally. So therefore, when you come to the sankhara level, ultimately, when your meditation is going on, and you don't know what is the motivation for meditation also. That's very paradoxical. That is very difficult to explain. At the beginning, you have the intention, I have to be a good, physically, verbally and mentally. But when you go up to the certain level of vipassana, you can't do away with meditation, you are doing it. But you have no any hope that I am going to be an enlightened, I am going to be a sotapanna, I am going to be a first jhana, second jhana, third jhana. So one Westerner, he put it in a sarcastic but in a very dramatic way. So, if you have any intention to become Aram, or Sotapanna, or first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, so you know how it is difficult because it is against the grain and you have to have so much of restrainment and sacrification and generosity and kind of thing. But if you have that intention and if you have achieved it, it is something to be entertained. But he analyzed the whole history in the Buddhism. He says, after becoming a Sotapanna, no one has thrown a party. So far. Because when you are going up to that level, your intention itself goes. Your egoistic idea also goes. So therefore, nearing to that objective, what was the motivation? What was the momentum? What was the thing happened? The Buddha says that is the most beautiful thing in the world. He says the person who is meditating without a worldly kind of intention is being respected not only by the human, even by the God and the Brahmas. He says they are praising Namo te purisajanya, namo te purisuttama, yasate na vidanami, kinchinisaya jayati. Yambinisaya jayati. He says, the Brahmas and Devas are paying respect, telling, may that respect be for that great man. And may my salute to the great man. He practiced, but he do not know why he is practicing. No intention. So that is the part, I would say, as far as the sankhara is concerned, very difficult because there is no economical motivation, no political motivation, no social motivation. It is the momentum. When you keep on doing, therefore even the Buddha says, relevant to that, even the noble eightfold path is a sankhara. It's a manifestation. It's a planned thing. It's a mind-made thing. But he says, to my omniscient knowledge, this is the least one can assimilate so that you can use the Noble Eightfold Path in order to get rid of the gross kind of sankhara. In order to remove the gross, you use this subtle method. Ultimately that itself, where after the wear and tear off, it goes the transcendental level. When you go to the transcendental level, that itself is weaned off, lean off. So therefore, whenever you go to understand the word meaning of sankhara, theoretically, of course, it's a vast subject, as I mentioned, many shades of meaning in the Tripitaka itself. But when you are referring to the kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara, mano sankhara, of course, in the Anapanasati, the vachi sankhara is not been mentioned, and the kaya sankhara, chitta sankhara is been mentioned. And when you go deep and deep, you have to really understand the intentional, unintentional, doing and happening. So when you go there, of course it has been picked and recognized by Sigmund Freud that unintentional motivations. We are heap of intentional motivation and unintentional motivation. Intentional motivations, the particular person can understand. But unintentional motivation is the conditioning we have. That rather we call subconscious or unconscious. Other person can see it. The society can see we are doing something, we are motivated, but the particular person do not know because it is not in the normal consciousness. But he has his intention. So these are the one appear like these tendencies, latent tendencies, sometimes as perversions, sometimes as our crooked natures. So they are beautiful things as far as we are disclaiming it. If you are going to claim it, that won't going to give any good smell to the society or for yourself. So therefore, when you are keep on practicing vipassana meditation, go deep and analyze in such a way in terms of sankhara, you say that things are there. Whenever you select this is good or bad, that becomes yours. They are the one going to create suffering. As far as you are not selected, they never become sankhara. So, sabbe sankhara dukkha, sabbe sankhara anicca, you are generally free. That may be the idea Karl Marx came out with, that idea of common property. And that may be the reason during the 30s and 40s, many Buddhist monks came to the supported the Communist Party thinking the Karl Marx and the Buddha is same. Even the name Samasamaya is proposed by a monk. They were really supporting this idea of the common property, thinking that it is not belongs to me. So that may be what the Buddha is coming out with. But it was a kind of a hallucination. This is not something to be developed like this materialistic theory like Marxism. But the mentality or physicality, whatever it may be, if you are using only for the utility value, then whether you claim it or not, still it can be independent. The yogi, the practitioner, the monk or nun means they are using as the common properties or sanghika in the Theravada tradition is sanghika property. You use it, preserve it and keep it and go. So there is no much of a attachment or commitment, and you know it is also impermanent, but you preserve as much as possible. So that is the way when you come to the meditation centers, we are using food in order to appease our hunger, no more than that. We drink water in order to quench our thirst, and no more than that. So that is the moderation. When you go to the other three foods, contact, the volitional and the consciousness is concerned, you so far without any consideration, you accumulated more than what is necessary and more than it is a burdensome. So the Buddha is in a efficient way, he is in a indirect way asking us to cut off as much as possible contacts. That is why in the sitting we ask to close our eyes. Go to a silent place. Don't entertain smells. Don't entertain taste. Just limit it to the physical contacts. And the walking meditation also, you are supposed to in the same place so that your external vision will be limited. And in the day-to-day activities also, you are supposed to have the routine timetable and be aware, do things slowly, that is to reduce the contact as much as possible and increase the mindfulness. Whatever the contact happen, let it happen before and after with the mindfulness. And then if the sankhara or the volitional activities are concerned, just develop the habit of disclaiming. But this disclaimer is not that you are committing mistake and telling and to go to court and say, I am not committing. That is not what I am mentioning here. It is once you come up with the moral level, once you come to the concentration level, this is at the feeling, perception and the consciousness level. Let them manifest and you develop the art of disclaimer. And exactly the same thing, it will be still subtle, how to disclaim this consciousness. Then it is the, how to call that, it is the hardest point. So I am not going to tackle it today. Tomorrow we are going to take that subject. That's also the being conscious, or vijnana. Each and every moment going to dominate it. Going to dominate with the vijnana, and we think it is a must. But the Buddha says, you can go to the vijnana also from the faculty-related one, or the materialistic kind of vijnana. You can go to the immaterial kind of vijnana, and then again dwindle it off, reduce it off to the unmanifested kind of vijnana. So that is why the vijnana also recognized as one of the foods, and we are knowingly or unknowingly giving again too much. So the moment you are going to reduce it, then only you will understand how much it has become naughty because you are giving too much. And still the Buddha says, you can cut off slowly, if you can grasp the idea of not to claim or reduce, how to reduce the sankhara, the volition, then the vijnana also in the same token, you can keep on reducing the strategic way, and then ultimately you can come with the bare minimum, and then you just have the bare minimum of suffering. More and more these things proliferating means you are proliferating suffering. So therefore the Buddha says, whatever arising is nothing but suffering. Whatever ceasing is nothing but suffering. So more and more engagement means more and more suffering. Less and less engagement means you are reducing the amount of suffering. So therefore, for the outside world, this appears like escapism. It appears like self-esteem. It appears like defeating or backward, unsocial life. So therefore, individual, when treading on this path, individual has to come up to this situation, how to justify this our journey. Are we going to cut off from the society or from the 4 kinds of foods? Isn't it self-esteem? Isn't it limited to one person? Isn't it happening only in the artificial situation? How can we generalize it? How can do it in the society at large? Individual has to go. But as you keep on practicing, more and more you deep inside meditation, inside knowledges, and mindfulness is going to experience, you will understand they are just nothing but mental proliferations. They are just feeding or entertaining doubts. More and more you go there, more and more you experience the inner peace, the contentment, not depending on the second agent or second person, it is manifested within. So therefore, after come up to that level, easily, without any hindrance, you can live in this vicious world without getting much involved. Maintaining your integrity, the balance, and therefore, theoretically, of course, at the beginning it is a problem, that when the Dhamma is going to go into the deep layers, it is answering it. Therefore, the Buddha is not going to give special sermons or special strategies for that. When the mindfulness deepens, the insight knowledge just deepens, slowly these will be answered. But that section of the story will be more relevant to the consciousness. So tomorrow we will try our best to go into that subject and get the fourth dimension regarding the nutriments are concerned, and to go up to that level, definitely the Kabalinkara Ahara, Passa Ahara and Sankara Ahara is very important, because slowly we are going to the deep layers. So that will be the end of the today's talk. Thank you very much for listening. We have taken 1 hour and 15 minutes live. So, as in the other days, I invite, if you have any doubts or any statements or criticisms or questions, please come out with, for the sake of discussion or question and answer.
Sometimes you said about looking and seeing and hearing and listening. The difference is it because there's Manasakari or your attention, and this Manasakari because you are directing your mind to it. For example, when you are giving the Dhamma talk, I can sit here, but if my mind is somewhere else, I will hear your voice, but I will not be listening to you. So that is because I am not attending to it. So is that Manasakara and Sankara the same, because I am directing my mind?
So I will put it this way in order to deny your statement. The unconscious intention and the conscious intention both have Manasakara. So you are supposed to listen to the Dhamma talk, but the mind is going there due to the unconscious intention. But even for that unconscious intention, the distraction itself needs a Manasakara. That you don't know, that you have not implemented, because if you have the controlling power, you would have implemented here to listen. But it has pulled you out of the trend and taken away. There also Manasakara is there. But here the volition. Volition is much gross form of the Manasakara. Manasakara is a very preliminary level of the gross form, and ultimately you have to claim that you have done a mistake. You are not listening, you are going up there, but that was not your intention when you are coming into the hall. Your intention was to listen, but it is gone. So now only thing is, if you do not really analyze it, you regret it. It's such a nice talk, still my mind is going out and kind of thing. But Buddha says you are innocent. But Buddha also not accusing. I am also not. You are the one accusing yourself and suffering. That is what the Puthujjana means. Puthujjana is very happy to torture himself. Claim that I have so much of work, so much of responsibilities, and ultimately putting everything into their bag and then suffering. So Buddha is half laughing and waiting at you. What a joke in the world. We collect as much as and put in our bag and take it and says, I have a heavy burden. The Buddha says that burden itself, your intention, your love, you are the one keeping in your hand this thing and go. But I am telling you, give it up. But you are giving it up is nothing substantial. It is your own worries, your own entertaining doubts. So we are masters on it. Each Puthujjana is a master to accumulate all the unwanted things. That's a backpacker.
Also, it is not easy to display past action which has been done with intentional.
No, that past action, that is why the mindfulness work in the present moment. Past action, it becomes a past action because of your thinking. The suffering is here now. Your attributions to the past, that is due to the doubt and your proliferation. So therefore the Buddha says, even the karma theory is to relieve you rather than suffer, rather than to make a reason to be suffer. Many people put the karma theory, karma and the karma real, to worry more. So what the Buddha can do? He says, use it in order to release yourself. This may be karma, can't help that. She is all of a sudden placarding me or something happens. So I know there is no reason. But then I have to say, I can of course jump and fight and argue like that. Never mind. Maybe that I have done the past, now it is going. Why not I can keep myself? That is the way we use the karma theory. Let the event to take place and go off. You consider it as if not yourself. So, how do you call efficient use of karma theory? It is called like antidote. If you know the poison, you can give the antidote, then the venom goes, it is just a wound, no more. So, but we people take that itself as a burden. Any weapon given, you destroy yourself. Just like a mode of adua, how that take a parabadana. Yeah.
Now, during such situations, how do you say you are not doing anything and to be mindful of sitting, standing like that?
Now you mindful about the boredom. No, I mean it's a very, very radical, very electric. One thing you can anticipate, when everything disappears, boredom can come. Monotony can come. And when that happens, you have to understand this is not materiality. Now the meditation has gone to the mentality. This is the way it is manifested. This is what the boredom means. This is the damage it can do. So, earlier the better. As sin sets in, you can understand this is the boredom, this is monotony, this is less dramatic, this is fearful, this is listless. See it. If you do not see it, it is destructive. If you see, you see Dhamma. Yeah. So you have to give me an example to analyze it. I am talking in terms of meditation. If you can give me an example.
If you are not going for work, at home, you have nothing to do now.
So in the Western countries, getting a pension means, how do you call it, it's a dreadful thing. After getting the pension, you become no one. So therefore, at the 60s, it's a huge mental breakdown. So they sometimes, by their will, they go to the office and do something. So that is what it happens. Because their mind, life is not well organized. They ever be industrious and have to work outwardly. Ultimately, whenever you take a pension, you become no one. So under such circumstances, very difficult to introduce Buddhism at that level, the mindfulness at that level, and how to get rid of this. So therefore, the situation, how do you call that, we can't give a spiritual answer for that kind of situation. Knowing that, before such thing happen, if you have already developed mindfulness, then you are better. Therefore, the mindfulness is very capitalistic system. If you have, better off. If you not have, suffer. So,
mindfulness is sati or what is sati sampajanya in English?
Sampajanya is comprehension, clear comprehension. Mindfulness and the clear comprehension. Sampajanya is the invariable answer, the outcome from the mindfulness. If the mindfulness is persistent, Sampajanya is naturally coming. It is nothing, no any effortful, no any effort necessary. Sampajanya is an endowment. Intentional sankhara you can rationalize. But the unintentionally happened, you don't know. There was no, but you are always attracted to them. You are always repulsive to them. You can't explain it. It appears like mystics. Yeah, there is some tendencies are under the carpet. They are working, and you are definitely suffering. You are succumb to the situation, but you have no given any chance to decide. The early one is you have a conscious decision is there, so you can rationalize it. But unconditioned, unconscious sankhara, it's a real way to nibbana if you know the art. If you do not know, you become a slave. So in order to understand, you must first calm down as much as possible intentional sankhara. Then only the unintentional become manifested. And there also you must observe it as if someone else. Don't claim it is me. Don't claim it is mine. Then again suffering. So you see, it's a kind of in my way of explaining is that when you are sharpening the barber knife, it has to be a cutting off the last edge of the hairs, but without the skin. It is cutting in such a way to the sharpest cut. It never damages the skin. So vipassana is something like that. If the angle is wrong, it can cut through in the skin. If the angle is otherwise, there may be some remaining hairs. So you have to have a proper angle. The cut, the sharp cut, very difficult to put into words. We'll say that when we go to a carnival, one particular boy have attraction to the one particular girl. There's a clique of boys, but everyone is not attracted. How can we explain it? So when we go to the buffet diet, you select some particular food, I am selecting another particular food. So I am asking, why you all daily telling the same thing? You will ask, what the hell you are taking also the same thing? You will say. I mean, it's a fact, but you can't rationalize it. Because we have the options. Each time we take, we taste, we eat, and then ultimately it is going to make some change into your chemical body. But even if it is unhealthy, you have the desire. Knowingly, damagingly, we can't explain it.
What do you do in such a instance? If you have this samsaric habit pattern, you without realizing it, you carry certain actions.
Yes.
But then it's going to create a lot of bad harm. So what do you do at that point?
Yes, you have to understand this is what we call anatta. We have no controlling power. We have no governing power. And it is working in other way now. He is also doing something wrong. I have told him 1,000 times, but still doing. So I have to understand, if I am doing such a thing, how the hell he can do? He also had to excuse it. So you will never judge upon others. You will understand everyone is running with the intentional and unintentional sankhara. So how can I tell them stand still and do this and that? I can suggest. But you can't expect. So that is why you will never...
How can he make change if he knows that it is bad for him?
Not only him, even I know it, how can I change?
But what can he do to change that?
So you have to know, she had to get the notion. is the living life we are living is not belongs to us. It is not it is self, it is not governable. There is no pit. There is yes, we are like a puppet. When the threads are changed, we are also changing. But we claim, I am a hero, he is so and such, and we don't know we are in a drama. We assume, and ultimately we are paid for our role, we think it is reality. Just like in a dream.
How do you improve yourselves?
First, basically you have to understand now we are in a drama.
Something very sharp and mindfulness, will you be able to detect when an unintentional sankhara emerges or when it's in the process of life?
It is difficult because it is called vanchanika dhamma. It is perverted. It appears like a friend, but it's always doing harm. It's called mitra pratirupaka. It's a counterfeit. So therefore, unless otherwise the Buddha come and pinpoint you and you believe the Buddha, you can't see your own mistake, your own enemy. You hug it, thinking it is in the real time it came and helped me like. But ultimately helping to what? To put into the samsara. So therefore the Buddha says, you have to listen to someone. Vanchanika dhamma. Perversions. And you have your crookedness. Shut up. And that is the way, and that I can understand. My own mistakes I can understand, but the Vanchanika dhamma, unless otherwise a benevolent person come and tell, very difficult one to do. So this is the point where I really hit the bedrock. And there you feel the way the Buddha assimilated them, but that is one thing. How can he communicate with us after 2,600 years? Then only you feel the omniscient knowledge and the way he is presenting and the formulas and the way he determined that it may last for long and for the future people to come and not to get lost in. It is difficult to conquer.
Once you arrive at the Pasamaya Sankhara state and the very supplement, that's a fairly solid state, and even the mind jumps here and there, it immediately gets back in that phase.
I will put it in this way, it will be very dramatic. A Pasamaya Kaya Sankhara happened, now you know. And then the Chitta Sankhara going to manifest. The feelings comes and the concept and reality, everything happens. They are really volatile. They are mental. Feelings are mental. Perceptions are mental. So when that happens, you don't know it's a hallucination or really a reality. At that time, only you, if you wish to verify, you have to go back to the Kaya Sankhara and verify. It is on the only verifiable point. The materiality, but it's also subtle. Otherwise, you are off the ground now. When the Mano Sankhara, Chitta Sankhara happens, you are in a dream world. You are in the mental world. So there, the solidity that you are talking, we are make use to verify whether I am really dreaming or I am really in the body or whether I am in the touching. So whenever it happens, you know that I have my home way back. I can go and verify with the Kaya Sankhara or Kaya Nupassana. Kagyasi. And then again you go and do the bold task of dealing with the feelings and the perception. Whenever you feel tired and exhausted, you can go and take the refuge of the Kaya Sankhara. So that is why the Buddha always say out of Satipatthana, first Kaya Nupassana. You must never cut the umbilical cord to the Kaya Nupassana. Keep that contact. Whenever you have the doubt, you have to go back and do the verification. And again come back and do the bold task. Just like a bunker in the war. If you are defeated, you can go to the bunker, organize yourself and again come back to the battlefront and attack. And if you defeated again, you can go to the bunker. So Kaya Nupassana is like a bunker. Whenever you have any doubt, you go there and verify and again come back. So many methods lost. They start with Vedananupasana, they start with Chittanupasana, Dhammanupasana, they think it is better. Of course it is better, but if you lose the ground, there is no way to verify. So that very point highlighted Maha why this Kayanupasana is necessary. But why it is to be kept at the beginning. Always it must be there.
You have to say it's not me.
Anicca dukkha, this is kind of anatta. Not me, not myself, and kind of thing. So you just disclaim it. Otherwise you will be carried away. So you expect something to happen. So you just say it's a dream, it's a drama. Don't take seriously. Ultimately when you are developed, even your mother died reality, you don't take seriously. Because 1,000 times it has happened in the samsara. What is the worry now? So then people will come and say that you are callous, you have no feelings and kind of thing. So once you develop in the mental level, in the day-to-day activities also, it ultimately becomes contagious. In the day-to-day activities also, you understand to be a good manager, you must not really get disturbed. You must have a feasibility study first, get enough information, and then only you draft this thing and do. You are not jumping directly. That means immaturity.
A few days ago, we were talking about the benefits of confession.
Confession.
Right.
Yeah.
So can I get a confession, a small confession? Yeah. Then I need your permission on something.
You have?
Then I need your permission on something.
So first, one thing first, and second.
They go together. My father is 89 years old, and as children he used to always bring us CDs, and show us my unit, and there are stories about the Phagguna side. So now of course he can't come, so with some photographs to show him. Is it all right?
Photograph of what?
Mountain ranges and the flowers.
So
not inside here.
No, I mean, I have no objection as such, but on the principle you have say, the last day, after the ending the meditation, this you can take, no problem. You have already taken. You must be killed. No? No, I am not asking to delete, but you have committed the mistake, so that you will be punished. Capital punishment is given, that is no problem. But the thing is that the taking photos, no problem. But on the day 10th, after the retreat, no, that Sila is also not much broken, but the only thing is this is sending the light outwardly. That is the case. That's why you asking, I know it. So therefore, if it is happened, vecha data enna seiradu, that is what in Sinhala, what to do. But take the last day, because this is a very unique atmosphere, and understand this Vanaya is the rock, is a very specific one in Sri Lanka. We have the tonical, the granite, Vanaya. This is a very special grade. You can see the broken this thing. So these are the geologically character. This is not very expensive one, but it is recognized as Vanaya. So these things are available, no problem.
Thank you very much.
That's all the day's program. So we will customarily share our merits with all the seen and unseen beings, and share merits with our relatives, dear and near ones, and remembering and straightening our objectives with that idea we will be chanting the stanzas traditionally. Ittavata janammehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata janammehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata janammehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti. Akasaddha ca bummatra devanaga mahittika punyantam anumoditva chiram rakkhantu sasanam. Akasaddha ca bummatra devanaga mahittika punyantam anumoditva chiram rakkhantu desanam. Akasaddha ca bummatra devanaga mahittika punyantam anumoditva chiram rakkhantu man param. Idang wo jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatiyo. Idang wo jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatiyo. Idang wo jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatiyo. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satam samagamo hotu yava nippanapattiya. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satam samagamo hotu yava nippanapattiya. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satam samagamo hotu yava nippanapattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana sīlissa niccang vaddha pacāyino cattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukham balam. Ayurārogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevaca ato nibbāna sampatti mināte samicchatu. Abhivadana sīlissa niccang vaddha pacāyino cattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukham balam.